Hello and welcome to SEC Basketball Talk here at Southeastern 16. Today we're going to talk about the Sweet 16, rank the matchups, talk about some nuances, some things of interest there. Of course, we'll have previews separately from that, so you'll get that as well. But today we're going to talk about those. We'll talk to you. We'll take your questions. But ladies and gentlemen, I buried the lead here.
Well,
look at my co-host, Blake Lovell. Blake's he's Mr. Consistency. He's always here. But to my right, as you look at it on the screen, he is back from the dead.
God, you know what? Hold on a second. Chris, you have tried to kill Max Barr multiple times over the past 5 or 6 days. And I tried to tell you, this guy, he was sick. He just had he couldn't talk. He lost his voice. And every time Chris would leave, when people were asked where Max was, Chris made it sound like Max was just, well, hey, had a good run. But you know what? It's very vague in terms of where Max was. And I'm like, guys, he just lost his voice. He'll be okay. But Chris did not. I mean, as we know, the expert.
Were you there? Were you there?
The injury, the injury pessimist himself had Max Barr sidelined. There was no return date. Timetable for return never was what Chris had. He wasn't questionable. He wasn't doubtful. He was out for good. And so, luckily, Max is back. Don't listen to Chris's injury updates ever.
Max, can you confirm you weren't dead?
Goodness gracious.
Chris was just playing coaching games with the injury report. He was trying to keep the opponents on their toes.
I'm not convinced.
The reason I think only death could keep Max Barr from a live stream during the NCAA tournament. I'm gonna stick with that. Blake, you can have your own version of it, but I think I like mine better.
Well, I think the people like Max better than anything else. Peace and light.
Yes.
The favorite of the channel. I agree. If we're gonna rank the Sweet 16 games today, if I had to power rank us, I'd put Max 1, me 2, Chris 3.
Well, we agree on one thing. That's the number one spot.
I'm happy to be back, guys. I'm happy to be back.
Max, all kidding aside, welcome back. We missed you.
Yeah, I had not been that sick. Joking aside, I was the sunburn combined with getting sick just put me into a coma. But we are back. I'll tell you what, guys. There is no other state of confusion than sleeping for a good 3-4 hours when 8 basketball games happen and you wake up and you got to see what the heck just happened. You can't even open your right eye because it's crusted shut. It was a nightmare. However, you guys, what a job you guys did covering for me. Blake is an Iron Man on every video for the last 20 years. Let's get into some Sweet 16 talk. Let's get into it.
Before we get there, Max, can I tell you, speaking of mass state of confusion, I was so confused by who you picked in the games that we recorded these videos, and I could not remember who you picked. So when people started calling out some of these in the Twitter, about, oh, well, Max made this pick or that pick, I said, no, he didn't. He did not. And they're like, yeah, he did. It's like, oh, yeah. It's because I was on so many videos. I could not remember who picked what. And so look at Mark. Mark's welcome back is Max. Your UCLA pick was a winner. Welcome back from the dead, Max Barr. You picked UCLA. Let me call you out 4 minutes into the stream. Come on, Mark. This man's not had a voice for 5 days. And then, Max, everybody kept saying that you didn't pick Arkansas. You picked Arkansas, did you not?
I picked Arkansas.
See, that's what I said. I'm like, come on, what's going on here? Max Barr is there, sick. Everybody's blaming you.
We said whoever wins that first-round matchup, we're having them beat St. John's.
It's just so funny. I love how much our picks factor into these.
But I definitely did not pick UCLA. I'll take credit.
Max, the best part, or maybe the worst part, was that I got blamed for stuff that you allegedly did or didn't do. First of all, I have no idea what you did or didn't do. But whatever it was that people wanted to run with, Max picked against my team, and then because you weren't there, I guess, I don't know if people got confused and said Chris was the one that picked it. That was a lot of fun too.
Hey,
by the way, Mark, we're just messing with you. We're just joking around. Yeah, we're having fun here. But when in doubt, blame Max. There you go.
How are the brackets looking, guys? How are we sitting?
All right, let me pull it up real quick because I think we pulled it up yesterday. And the bracket challenge, I think, what did you put yours in there, Max, on the bracket challenge?
Yeah, it's Max's Barket.
Oh, okay. Let's see where you're at on that.
Was that intentional?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
maybe. Somehow these rankings have changed since yesterday. How is that possible? Oh, because I know what happened. Some new people put their bracket in the group yesterday. That's what happened. So that's how these rankings have changed a little bit. So the current leader, Hogs by 90 at 550, has only missed, I think, one game this entire tournament. I could be wrong about that. Yeah.
Whoa.
That's true. Let me find everybody else here, though, and then we'll get into the stuff you're actually here for. But who would it be without us just, having some fun off the top here? Chris is in 28th. He's tied for 28th right now. So that's where his bracket's at. I am tied for 38th. But the maximum points, still, I have one of the highest, I think, based on the remaining points. And it's because we picked all the top seeds. I think I've got a shot. You're tied for 51st, Max. I have 50 more maximum points than you do, which doesn't make sense. You're Max. You should have more max points than me.
I just need Houston and I win it.
Yeah. Chris actually has 10 more max points than both of us. So, yeah, that's where we're at. Hogs by 90. Let's just pull up Hogs by 90 bracket here real quick.
Pull it up.
I think you guys will be curious about this because this is incredible, actually, when you look at the bracket. So we're going to pull this up from Hogs by 90. Like 99.9 percentile right now. And let's look at the picks here. Like, this is incredible. Mississippi State is the only team maybe that screwed him over here.
Holy
Because
smokes.
otherwise,
Jeez.
like, look at this. Oh, picked Clemson, I think. Mississippi State and Clemson, and then picked, come on, you picked Illinois to beat Kentucky? Well, there's where you went wrong. Also didn't believe in the Hogs. What? Hogs by 90 didn't believe in the Hogs? That's it. Get this bracket off the screen. Get this bracket out of here. You kidding me? Come on. All right. There you go.
99th percentile. Jeez.
That's wild. So
But seems like maybe ceiling limited from here on.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. So, all right. Let's get into it. By the way, I don't know if we pulled this up yet from Sam. Max got to miss the ultimate meltdown from Sam Smith when he found out Tennessee was going to play Kentucky. He was really struggling with that idea. And then we brought up the idea, Max, that Tennessee could then play Purdue in the Elite Eight in Indianapolis, and he was more projectile at that point.
I can understand.
Yeah. Sam was, and we also told him that Zach Edey actually had one game of eligibility left, and he would be back for that game should that matchup happen. So it made him even more upset. So, anyways, all right. By the way, Mark's a member. Mark, we weren't trying to force you into membership, but we appreciate you a great deal here at Southeastern 16. Becoming a member, it just means more to Mark. Also, just means more to Jack Hogan. $2 super chat. Max's stash only rivaled by Hulk Hogan. So Jack Hogan, a longtime relative, it seems, of the Hulkster. So, all right, here we go. Let's rank some Sweet 16 games. Thought that'd be fun to do. And I mean, look, it's all right. Hold on, people are asking for memberships. Give me 1 second here. You guys discuss among yourselves. Let me put the link in the chat for you guys if you want to join the membership. I'm going to put the link in there right now.
There we go. Wow, we have Jackie, who's got Hogs and the Dukies in the final. I'll tell you what, if that happens, you've got your bracket pool locked up. And that's the thing about taking a chance on a team. If it does happen, you're in a good spot. Chris, can you still win the bracket pool? Do you still have a shot?
Well, I don't have it in front of me.
You have not been doing theoretical paths to the championship?
Yeah.
Well,
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
What else have you been
I
doing,
figured
Chris?
it's going to fall apart, so I just haven't really locked in.
Well, hold on.
No hope.
Well, so Chris had UC San Diego in the Sweet 16. So I think if like Michigan were to beat Auburn, he's in trouble. The Ole Miss pick though is doing a lot of work for him right now.
Yeah.
So his belief on Ole Miss is really helping out pretty well. Trying to see if you lost anybody else. You had Clemson in the Sweet 16. I think I did too.
I think Clemson was the biggest bracket killer like across the country.
Maybe. Yeah.
St. John's.
So, it really just comes down to do the one seeds make it. Like that's really what it's going to come down to because we all decided to go that route. By the way, Satorius, also a new member here at Southeastern 16. All right, let's rank some games here. We've got 8 Sweet 16 games. So we're going to count it down 8 to 1. And remember, this, ranking the games, it doesn't necessarily, you can use whatever criteria you want here, just like with power rankings, right? We're not all going to have the exact same criteria, all that stuff. But based on maybe you're ranking them in terms of your interest level, entertainment, anything like that, whatever 5-point system you want to use, that's how we'll classify these. All right. So let's start at number 8. Which one? Now, listen, it doesn't mean just because it's at 8, it's not a game you want to watch. But what's the least interesting Sweet 16 matchup of the group?
Well,
Wait a second. Did Max freeze?
Frozen. I think he did.
Oh, no.
Now his internet is sick. That's great.
Oh, no. Are you kidding me? Oh, he's back.
Yeah. We're back.
He's back.
I did this by who I think is going to be the biggest blowout. And
okay, that's fair.
Because just entertainment value is what I went on. Entertainment value. And I think Florida is going to put the depth on the Terps and run them out. I'm going Florida, Maryland at number 8. I'm not excited to watch it. What are you talking? Crazy. I think it's going to be a pretty lopsided affair.
By the way, just before Chris, you get going, let's just make this clear. We're not going to give away our game picks for every one of them. So once we get to the more, I think we all know who we're picking.
Sorry,
Florida, Maryland.
I did for that.
But let's not give away every pick. Okay, let's not go that route. Use the route because we have to do our prediction videos after this. We want to give a little suspense, but spoiler alert, I think you know who we're picking in Florida, Maryland. But just for reference, as we get to the maybe more competitive games in our minds, let's not say, you know what, I'm all in on the Cats. I'm all in on the Vols because that's going to wait a little bit. All right, Chris, your turn. Number 8.
My number, and by the way, I think, Blake, do you ever remember a better round of Sweet 16 matchups in recent memory? I mean, I don't think there's a bad, just like an awful game in here.
Well, it's because you've got, 4 conferences represented.
Right.
It's all so I think matchup-wise, that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually you've got one like, all right, this is going to be a bloodbath, or usually a couple of those. My number 8 game is Arizona and Duke. And look, Caleb Love could show up and do good Caleb Love things. He's done that this tournament. But, Duke has won its first 2 games by, 67? So that's my 8 game because I think Duke is probably going to have its way.
Yeah, that's my thought too. I'm going to go Duke, Arizona, because I think Duke is just – I think Duke's the team to beat right now. So we'll find out, but I went that one at 8 too. So, all right,
okay.
7.
Interesting.
This is where I think it starts getting tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where I went Houston, Purdue. I think I can give my pick on this one. I got Houston. Houston's my team now. If they win the national title and all the 1 seeds make the Final Four, I think I win all my pools. So we are all in on the Cougs. But I also just think that Purdue and Indianapolis, maybe they give a little bit of a fight, but I've been pretty down on Purdue all year.
Yeah, I'm going with that one as my 7 also. I do think it being in Indy is the wild card. Mm-hmm. A ton of Purdue fans there. You just never know. But Houston is a team that I have put almost unwavering faith in.
Yep, clean sweep. I got Houston Purdue at 7-2, which I thought about making that 8 actually, but I don't know. I think Duke is just on another level at this moment. So I think Houston Purdue will be interesting for different reasons than Duke and Arizona. So I'll go that one 7-2.
Okay. Now, naturally, if we put – oh, go ahead.
Before you continue, nobody says Max's stash looks different. It's making me want to outrun the cops across several states in a Trans Am with his trucker buddy. So that's the description of Max's return here with the stash. So, all right, let's continue.
That's what I'm here for. Number 6. And just naturally, by the way that we just put those 3 games in our bottom, one of those games is going to be razor thin.
Sure.
Of course.
Duke, Arizona will be triple overtime.
Well, yeah. I'm debating putting BYU, Alabama, or Duke, Arizona here because
come on.
I think that BYU, Alabama is going to be an absolutely amazing game, but I really like Alabama. I really do like Alabama. I think Arizona, Duke is going to be a pretty good game. I really do. I think Awaka and Visar and Tom and the transfer from Oakland, forgetting his name right now, the power forward, KJ Lewis, they got some size. I think that's going to be a good game. I'm going to go BYU, Alabama here. Maybe because I no pick from me, but I think it might be. I think a lot of people think that's going to be a close game, and I don't know.
We're on 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've got Maryland, Florida, just because Florida's been so dominant. Maryland has got, Queen and Reese are really, really good, but Florida's deeper. Florida's also got 4 really good bigs. I just think that Florida can neutralize a lot of what Maryland can do and beat it with the bench. And I'm just not convinced that's going to be I think Florida could run away with this one potentially.
Yeah, I've got Florida, Maryland too on this one. I just try not to give away our picks, but some of these you guys know who we're going to pick. Like, I think you probably are not going to go into the Florida Maryland game prediction video thinking we're all going to pick that.
Yeah.
But just to kind of give you a little suspense, I think this is one too where I said I wonder if Florida's toughest game on the road to the Final Four could be the second one against UConn. I think this is a decent enough matchup for Florida, and I'll explain why in the prediction video that goes up in about 2 hours. So,
on number 5.
Yep.
Number 5, I have got Arkansas, Texas Tech. That is a fascinating matchup between 2 of like the most versatile athletic teams left in the tournament. JT Toppin against whether it's Brazil, Edu. That's going to be a fantastic matchup in the front court. And then didn't Texas Tech break the record for 3-pointers attempted in an NCAA tournament game? I mean, come on. If they're not high on your watch list, I don't know what you're watching. Sign me up for a Texas Tech game any day of the week.
I've got Ole Miss, Michigan State. I really don't know what to do with this one yet. And I picked Ole Miss. I want to stick with it maybe just for investment sake of a bracket. But I'm just not – I don't love watching teams play that can't shoot. And that dampens my excitement over this a little bit for me. But I think it'll be a fascinating game.
Chris, in your bracket, who do you have in the Elite Eight on that matchup?
I have Ole Miss. I had this matchup, and I had Ole Miss winning it.
Wow, okay. Nice picks.
Chris, who are you going to pick in the prediction video?
I don't know.
Good answer.
I mean, I'll probably, yeah.
No, exactly. No, Chris, no. That was the answer I was looking for.
I really
you don't know. Okay, great answer. Holy cow, you guys over there just trying to give away all your picks this morning. Gotta save a little bit for the good stuff. I've got Ole Miss, Michigan State too here. I think stylistically, I think this could be one that may rank a little further down for some people, just from that standpoint. But I do think it's going to be I think it could be a really good game. Just for the reasons we said, kind of going into the tournament. If this was the matchup you got, obviously 2 teams, I think that do a pretty good job of their defensive approach to things. Both top 20-ish defensive teams, and I just think it's kind of fascinating when you break down the matchup and try to figure out how both these teams are going to approach scoring against the other. I think that's kind of one of the fun elements of it, but we'll talk more about that. But yeah, I got this one too at 5.
So now we're on to our top 4. Top 4 matchups.
Top 4.
All right. I have got the Tigers against the Wolverines, Auburn, Michigan. Second largest spread of the day, or of the slate of the Sweet 16, at -8.5 for Auburn. But hey, that has got to be the best front court matchup possibly of the tournament, with Danny and Vlad against Janai Broome and Dylan Cardwell. Sign me up again. I'm signed up for a lot of these games, but sign me up for this one.
That's mine too. I think Auburn's wonkiness combined with Michigan's just the uniqueness of that matchup, plus Dusty May, who has turned Michigan around in the blink of an eye. That's why I've got him at 4.
I don't like the fact that I'm basically tailing Chris here on every pick, but I've got Auburn, Michigan at 4 too. So, yeah, I just think matchup one again. Like we're ranking the 8 Sweet 16 games here. By the way, remember these are Sweet 16 games. We're not ranking first round games where some of these are just blowouts. These are all great, I think, in terms of just the setup for these. But yeah, I think this one should be pretty good. But like you said, Max, it's a pretty large spread here, and we'll talk about it in the matchup. But I don't think this one's going to be easy for Auburn. I don't. And so at 8.5 is kind of interesting to me. But yeah, I've got this one at 4 too.
Be a great matchup in the front court. Really can't wait for it. And the Michigan guards have been kind of the weakness, but they have really turned it up lately in the tournament.
Chris, you're free to go. You're free to go.
I'll be right back. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. We got onto our top 3 now, right?
Top 3. Here we go.
Yeah, this is where I have Ole Miss, Michigan State at 3. I cannot wait for this game. As you guys know, sign me up for the not pretty games. Or, you guys want to see shooting. You want to see BYU, Alabama put up 90 points. I want to see Michigan State and Ole Miss, Tom Izzo and Chris Beard down in the trenches, 40-41. 2
defensive
of 20
stance,
from 3.
Both of them?
Yes.
You think
Get
both
in
of them are going to get a
stance.
defensive stance on the sideline for this one?
Get on your knees and start pounding the hardwood.
Here we go.
Let's go.
Defensive stance. Yeah. A little stretch
Padula
before the game.
Against Richardson, the guards, the versatility in that game. Yeah, I can't wait for that one. Fun fact of the note. Jeez. Gosh, what is he doing? No, trying to collect my thoughts here. No, St. John's already fell victim to it. The unranked gets a 1 or a 2, never made it to the Final Four. St. John's already fell victim. If you want to take a spot on Michigan State to drop before they have to run into either Auburn or Michigan, it could be a cheeky little plus money bet if you want to make some lunch money here, following a trend.
Apologies. Between pest control guys and dogs, I got a little off track. We're on 3, right?
Yep.
We're on 3.
Give me BYU, Alabama. Just stylistically, if you like your basketball resembling NBA All-Star games, this one's for you.
All right. Number 3, I got Arkansas, Texas Tech. I think, again, Max said it. You guys know me. You're telling me I get a team that just shot 40-something threes in an NCAA tournament game against the Hogs? Are you kidding me? That's one of the games I get this week? Oh, count me in. A 40-plus point, 3-point attempt team against the Hogs. Number 3, Texas Tech and Arkansas. Appointment television on Thursday night at midnight Eastern.
That's the late one.
Holy cow. Yeah. There you go.
That'll be
all right. Is there
no? It won't be
huge
standalone.
suspense? Huge suspense for number 2, because what's number 1 going to be? Boy, I'm going to be stunned. Everyone in the chat knows. They're like, come on, guys. This was actually very interesting up until we get to the number 1 pick, because we all know who we're picking number 1. But who do we have left at number 2? That's the question.
Number 2, I've got Arizona Duke. I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is because if you're an SEC fan right now and you've watched Duke and how they've played, how they just beat up on Baylor, they're the team to beat right now. I know Florida, it was the hottest team entering the tournament. They're 0-2 against the spread so far. Duke is 2-0. It's just they've looked unbeatable. I think this is a chance here. Knock off the Dukies. I think Arizona's got the experience. They've got the March experience. They got the seniors. They've got Awaka. They got some physicality. I've got this circled for the Dukies could go down here. They could.
I've got Tennessee, Kentucky, and boy, are there storylines. The fan bases hate each other. You've got the fact I think Tennessee's better on paper, but just cannot beat Kentucky right now. You got the Rick Barnes Elite Eight. Keep at it.
Keep at it. Does it?
I guess not anymore. You might need to enable a setting there.
The Gladiator.
That's more entertaining than whatever I'm saying. Carry on.
Well, number 2, I've got Alabama BYU, because, again, we all know I value my offense. And I think this is going to be a game where good luck to both teams defensively, because I think that going to be a lot of points scored here. I think this could be the highest scoring game of the tournament. And I just, I'm all in on those kind of scenarios. So, give me Alabama BYU too, because I feel like this has got to be at least in the mid 80s, at least. And matchup wise, I've said it. I think this is tricky for Alabama. We'll have our prediction video up in a little bit, but I think this is a little bit tricky. Here we go. Number 1.
Well, I thought we were all going to have the same number 1.
Me too. I honestly don't even remember who Chris has left, so I'm curious to see who it is.
Yeah, me too.
I don't remember.
Curious.
I really don't remember. I think it's Arkansas and Texas Tech. I could be wrong, but we'll find out. I
have got part 3 at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis.
Oh.
Not the night slate, but it's still, they were like, you know what? We need the prime time slate. We don't need anybody dozing off. This has got to be prime time. Part 3 between the Vols and the Cats. Offense against defense. However, you say, Max, this is no such thing as offense against defense. Kentucky is playing some pretty dang good defense. This is just a matchup. How could you not love it? How could you not love it, guys?
At number 1, I have Arkansas and Texas Tech because I have absolutely no idea what to expect. Like, have you ever seen a team that got its best big and its best guard back for the NCAA tournament after not having them for weeks, and then plugged them back in, had all that talent preseason, let other guys develop? You got the Cal storylines. I mean, everything, the roller coaster ride that has been Arkansas basketball this year. You get that. You also get Texas Tech. You get an elite coach, I think, in Grant McCaslin. You got a team that shoots threes like crazy against a team that doesn't. Like, if you tell me Arkansas wins by 20, I'm not shocked. If you tell me Texas Tech wins by 20, I'm not shocked. That's probably overstating. I might go 15 for each of those. But I think the range of possibilities in the storyline that has been Arkansas basketball, to me, the return, the whole thing makes it fascinating.
No, I don't disagree at all with that. I think there were, I mean, like you said, what to expect, I have no idea. From this game, should be a wild one. Especially, come on, it's the late night game. I feel like you're going to get some. Yeah, it's on the West Coast, but you're going to get some wild events maybe coming out of this one. All right, number 1, please, as the late great Bill Walton would say, it's got to be the Vols. Coming for revenge on the Cats. 2 losses this season. One with Lamont Butler, one without Lamont Butler. They said, we don't care if Lamont Butler's on the floor. We're coming for revenge. The Cats saying, you know what? We've heard all the talk about our defense. We've heard all the talk about Chris Lee not ranking us number 1 in the Sweet 16 game rankings. And we're here to prove something. And what will be the hottest ticket in the history of civilization in Indianapolis, Kentucky, Tennessee, Purdue, Houston, they're all there. It's going to be fantastic. So, number 1, the Cats and the Vols. Wow. When Max said earlier, just goosebumps. Just thinking about it.
Oh, so can't wait. Cannot wait.
Man.
These are the hardest few days because you get 4 straight days nonstop and then you're just sitting and waiting.
As you can tell, we're filling time on this show. These are the hardest days for us because we're like, can we just get to the games already?
Give me the games.
So, by the way, let me get to this earlier. Carter, $5 super chat. We got some other super chats we're going to get to. In honor of Max's return, the $5 here, we need to do the gut bracket from the current Sweet 16. So, Carter, this was actually going to be the theme of the show. But then I said, why can't we do that? Because we're just going to give away our picks again. And we cannot give away our picks. As much as these guys are trying to do it, we have to get you to watch our preview videos. Like, this is how we make money here. So I don't want to do that because I don't want to give away our picks because I guarantee you whatever our gut bracket picks are, they're going to be the same when we record these videos in 30 minutes.
Yep.
So I don't want to give that away just yet. But we may try to tie in something like that here before we hop off. But we're not going to give away our picks. Those are secure in the lockbox right now. They will come out today and tomorrow. So, yeah.
I have a quick pop quiz because I just was
man, are you
and,
kidding me?
and,
Are you
and
kidding
found
me?
A
pop quiz? Chris gave me true-false questions all weekend. Now you're coming in with pop quizzes.
Nice.
Holy cow.
You know I like a pop quiz.
What is
All right. Through 2 games, there are 3 SEC players that are top 10 in scoring for the tournament. They rank – John Tonje is 1, by the way. John Tonje of Wisconsin's 1 with 52 points. The SEC has 3 in the top 10, and they're 2, 3, and 4 with 51 points, 49 points, and 46 points. So the SEC right now has 3 of the top 4 scorers in the NCAA tournament. You don't have to get them in order, but who do you think the 3 scorers are from the SEC that rank top 4 overall right now?
Walter Clayton's one of them.
Yep. He's 4th. So there's 3rd and 2nd.
Sears and
Todd
Lanier.
Pettiford. Lanier
is 3rd. Mark Sears is not on it. And then you're
Pettiford's
missing number 2. Nope.
D or Padula?
Nope.
Huh.
Kobe Bryant.
You ready for this? Nope. Farrell Payne.
Oh,
Whoa.
yeah. That's right. He did. Yeah. Okay.
Payne has 51 points right now through the two games. Tonje at number 1 has 52. Payne is 1 point off leading the tournament in scoring right now. I was shocked when I saw that. Had to bring it up.
Wow. That is wild, isn't it?
It feels like
would have never have guessed it.
2 months ago now.
Right?
Yeah. Interesting. Well, thoughts, Max, on the Aggies? Your thoughts. We didn't get your thoughts on the Texas A&M Aggies exiting the tournament against the Wolverines.
They got marched. That was just a March Madness second half there from the Michigan guards. I think Roddy Gale had like 10 straight, 12 straight. He went through a stretch this year where he was on like a month-long streak of like 2 for 30 from 3. Like he went through one of the worst slumps I've seen this year. And then you have Trey Donaldson making a shot that you try to hit on the playground, scoop shot left hand. It was just like, yeah, A&M got marched. It happens. It happens, and you can't fight against the madness. You just got to let it happen.
All right. Speaking of madness, $10 super chat from Joshua. Like it or not, Arkansas is Cinderella this year. Does the shoe fit? To find out at 2 a.m. on Thursday. That's right. 2 a.m. on Thursday, we'll find out. Go Hogs and Vols. I guess technically it'd be 2 a.m. on Friday. But yeah, your point is well taken here when it comes to the late night affair for the Hogs and the Red Raiders. Sweet 16 action. All right. Nobody from earlier, I forgot. Tell him Max he doesn't need his voice if he's just going to use it to pick against the Cats. By the way, I've studied our previous 2 prediction videos this season for Tennessee, Kentucky.
Oh,
and that is going to factor in to my pick for Tennessee and Kentucky in the Sweet 16. There's your teaser for that. I Bleed Orange asked, do you think Tennessee can win the national championship?
That's going to be tough.
I think they can.
Yeah.
The
Think
odds
about their
wouldn't look too
path.
Great.
Their path is Kentucky, potentially Houston, and then potentially Duke or Alabama.
Arizona.
Or BYU or Arizona, as Max has noted. So, yeah, those are all possibilities. I don't think Max is wrong, by the way. Just sidebar about the Arizona thing. I ranked that low in my rankings, but I have very high confidence in Duke. But Arizona was kind of one of those that, since they beat my Ducks of Oregon, they're playing well. So, yeah. But I think Tennessee's path to get there is right now. Here, I think let's tie this into the actual odds. I think that's always interesting. So, let's see. The current tournament winner. Tennessee has the 5th best odds. So, Duke has the best odds, plus 210. Florida, plus 350. Houston, plus 500. Auburn, plus 500. Tennessee, plus 1,700. So, it's the 5th best odds, but there's a huge gap once you get beyond the number 1 seeds. So, yeah, that's kind of where things stand on that. So, and I mean, look, Alabama's plus 1,800, but again, I think the reason you're seeing that is outside of Houston, the teams that have to go through Duke are just, they're going to be put lower, right? Kentucky's plus 5,500. Purdue's plus 7,500. So you can see the teams that are sitting there in that part on that side of the bracket. It's just it's something. So.
What is plus 1,700 as a percentage? Because I was actually thinking through this. Like, if I had to handicap teams, like, if you say realistic chance is maybe 10% or better to win it all, or maybe even go 5, I'm still not sure I go outside the top 4 seeds.
No, someone asked me yesterday, or I don't remember, maybe it's all runs together. Is there a better chance of all 1 seed still making the Final Four or an all SEC Final Four? I said, that's easy. Even for the SEC basketball guy, it's all number 1 seeds making the Final Four.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to probably look at these and feel like, hey, until we see it, like, they've been that good. And it's been that kind of tournament so far. I know a couple of them had close calls in the second round, but we've seen that before where teams are just able to get by the first weekend and then they start to turn it on. And so, yeah, I still think it's that scenarios. I think that's still your most likely scenario based on the odds. But as Brian just said, it's March Madness. Throw the odds out the window. So, yeah.
But by the way, plus 1,700 is a little bit under 6%. What was Alabama, Blake?
Plus 1,800.
Okay, so they're probably 5.
There you go. Okay, let's grab a couple other ones here. Mother Carol predicted first number 1 seed to fall. $2 super chat from Mother Carol. Oh boy.
Whichever one loses in the Final Four, because they're all making
What's
it.
the order of Final Four games? Yeah, which side of the bracket plays first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be pretty surprised if there is a non-1 seed in the Final Four at this point. I think it's inevitable.
Pick your non-1 seed to make the Final Four. Who is it?
Tennessee or Kentucky. I just think that
but you gotta get
like
by
this.
Houston.
Sure you do, but I mean, of course you do. But I mean, you got to get by Duke, you got to get by Auburn, you got to get by Florida. Like, you got to get by any of these 1 seeds. But to me, I think I think stylistically, I would probably take Tennessee or Kentucky.
See, I think it's somebody out of the South. I'm just not sure which somebody.
Well, then you don't have a confident answer like I do. You're telling me that I can't pick against Houston, and you're over there telling me you can't even pick against any of them. So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, that's tough. Maybe I can't give away any of my picks here.
Don't do it.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out a way to say it without giving away.
Nope, don't even say it. No, this is what we do here. We gotta give the people a little suspense sometimes. This is the perfect time to do that. Let's all just calm down. Let's gather our thoughts here. No. It's an interesting question though. So
yeah. I can't give an answer without giving away an upset pick.
Me too, because I almost just did it. I almost just said a team, and I was like, oh, no, I can't say that. All right. Great question, Mother Carol. We'll get back to you.
Great question.
On that. We're good for it. You know that. So Zachary asks, what's Kentucky's defensive rating on KenPom now? Chris was trying to look at their rating since the Ole Miss game last stream. It's 45, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. I never was able to figure out what it's been from what was it, the 18th on, or what was the date? Who was the game where they got beat?
They lost to Ole Miss 98-84 on February the 4th. Since then, it's been a little bit different.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know exactly how you tell that, but
well, there's a way to sort it at Bart Torvik. I just was not able to figure it out the other night.
Wow, Bart.
Either I don't have the right membership, or I couldn't find the button.
Did you see the? I didn't even want to mention it, but now that we're talking about it, I guess I will. But you can sample size just the tournament for Bart Torvik. It's ridiculous because a 2-game analytical sample size is basically worthless. But Kentucky has the number 2 defense through 2 games, in the NCAA tournament. It can have one bad game and it'll drop to like 10th out of it. It's such a small sample size, but still through 2 games, they've been rock solid defensively.
Do you want me to do my I kept bringing up the BYU stat over the February 16th. Let me take that a week further now. All right. I'm going to take this to February 25th, and we're going to go for the past month. Where have teams ranked? Let's find out. Okay. So going to February 25th to now, March the 25th. These are interesting. Number 1 is Houston. Number 2 is Duke. Number 3, Florida. Number 4, Gonzaga. Number 5, Alabama. Number 6, Colorado State. Number 7, Maryland. Number 8, Auburn. 9, Michigan State. 10, BYU. And on from there. So, there you go.
Colorado State. Should have had it.
By the way, Brian says, Blake, Chris, and Max, go ahead and say it. Kentucky wins. Brian, do you realize you really want all of us to say that? Do you know what happens when we say that, Brian? I don't think that's what you want at all. I don't think you want us all to say Kentucky wins, because that may be a problem, because it's always lurking, as we know. It's always there. Just when you think you're getting some picks right, as we've done with some of these SEC teams, getting to the Sweet 16, all of a sudden, it's there. So, we'll see.
By the way, I just figured out Kentucky's defense in that span. I was trying to get number 11 nationally since the Ole Miss game.
There you go.
I could tell something was cooking over there.
Well, I just figured out I was going to the team page for Kentucky. I had to go to the front page with everybody.
Richard knows what's up. Richard's like, please, all of you pick Kentucky. Please, begging you. Please, all of you. Michael says Brian must be trying the reverse jinx at Kentucky's expense. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. This is going to be one of those picks where, I've always said I don't like going last in the picks. This is one where I can't imagine that we've ever had another spot where I want to be the last person picking ever. It's just, it's brutal. But don't worry, I've got a plan. Got a plan. It's what you do your research, just like preparing for an NCAA tournament game. You study the film, which I've done. I've studied the previous 2 game prediction videos we did. I've studied the previous 2 games, and I just want, you put the game plan, you execute, and you see how it plays out. So now Jackie, by the way, wants us to pick Texas Tech. I don't think you want that. We've been on not gonna lie, we've been on a roll with the Hogs. So I'm not sure you want that. But we'll see. Just love it. Love it. The picks. All right. What else we got? We're going to hop off in a few. You guys send in your questions, comments, anything you want to talk about Sweet 16 related. Quick thoughts. We were going to do a video this week, but I'm just telling you, we're not going to be able to get to it. Sean Miller to Texas, I think, is a home run hire for the Longhorns. I think it's a great hire. I think they're going to be top 10, top 15 again, probably by next season. I think it's a tremendous hire.
Does he bring over Mr. Conwell, the sharpshooter?
Sure.
Because if he does, please bring him over. One of the best shooters in the nation. Ryan Conwell played on the really fun Indiana State team. If Miller can start with him and build around one of the best shooters in the country, Blake, you're right there with you. This could be a team preseason ranked right up there at the top, depending on how this roster fills out.
Yeah. Thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, that's about as good a hire as you could hope for. The coaching roster in this league now, unreal.
Well, think about this. The knock on Sean Miller used to be, couldn't break through, get to the Final Four. Well, let me tell you right now, for Texas, and you see Elite Eight, Elite Eight, Elite Eight, Elite Eight, Sweet 16, Sweet 16, Sweet 16, round of 64, round of 32. Like, I'll take all that. You don't have to get me to the Final Four next year. Just give me that consistency. And so, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is one of the first things I thought, and I knew Big Gator EJ would be the one to chime in on this. My first thought was, I don't know that there's a school in the country that have coaches that look the exact same more than Sean Miller and Steve Sarkisian now. Like, I really, this was one of the first things I thought of. And so Big Gator EJ and I are on the same wavelength here. Because that, for whatever reason, that popped in my mind too. I was like, I've seen the press conference. I'm like, there's some similarities there. So, I thought it was pretty good. So
if you want a pessimistic take on that, when you're reading that off the track record of the tournament finishes, does that remind you of anybody? Just a little bit?
You're going to say Rick Barnes, right?
Yeah, I mean, like Miller was a notch higher on a lot of those years. I'm just saying.
I get it, but listen, I will always. We are talking about the NCAA tournament. I will always stand on the idea that you don't get to the NCAA tournament without, over the course of 30-something games, proven that you know what you're doing as a head coach.
Yeah.
Like, whatever happens in March, Brian said it, it's March Madness. Throw the stats and everything else out the window. I get that that's what these guys will be judged on. But how many teams are getting to the tournament every single year? How many coaches get their team to the tournament every single season? Sure, there has been if I look at Sean Miller's resume here, his first year at Xavier, they didn't make the tournament. His first year at Arizona, they didn't make the tournament. His third year at Arizona, they didn't make the tournament. His final 3 years at Arizona, they didn't make the tournament. Understood on all that. But if you look at the overall track record, right, I just think you're talking about in this league, you got to go out and find somebody that has proven regularly that they can get their team to the tournament. And I just feel like that's exactly what you're trying to do, even if, yes, you're looking up and saying, well, where's that Final Four? How many guys out there have that Final Four? How many guys out there have multiple national championships or Final Four to their resume that you can get right now? I just don't think that's realistic. So who else were they going to hire? Like, who was the best? I mean, sure, we could bring up this. We could say, hey, go get Nate Oates, go get Bruce Pearl, go get this, go get that. Like, we play that game every offseason. But I think overall, to me, you've got to look at it and say, hey, let's go get somebody who has proven they know how to get to the NCAA tournament. Sure, a couple years there, maybe not. But, I mean, if we play that game, we're going to talk ourselves into a pool of candidates that, hey, go hire Phil Jackson. He's available. Go hire Phil Jackson. He'd be a great hire for Texas. So we could talk ourselves down into all of these different, loopholes here, but that's just my thought.
Can John Gruden coach basketball?
Yeah, maybe. I'd love to see that. Now I'd be all in on that. Man, that guy loves the game.
Blake, I've got a response here. As much as you and I love to go at each other on this show, I actually think I am completely in agreement with everything you just said. However,
stop the show.
I know. It's just
pause.
Flip that, somebody. However, why did Cal get run out of Kentucky?
Chris, you know what my response is? Texas is not Kentucky.
Why did Rick Barnes get run out of Texas? Why had fill in the blank coach been run out of?
Because Rick Barnes was at Texas for 20-something. How long was he there? He was there for a quarter of a century. Like, Sean Miller's not coached his first game yet. We'll talk about that 20 years down the road.
Longevity does have something to do with it. I get it. At some point, you're just sick of looking at the same guy on the sidelines unless he's, winning a natty every third year. But the number one cause of coach firings at big schools is they didn't get it done in the postseason. And again, I think the postseason is a crapshoot. I put a lot more stock into consistency and give me a Rick Barnes any day of the week against just about anybody. But expectations in the postseason are what get coaches run out of places with great records otherwise.
Sure. Give me the great record over the Final Four every year. Because to me, that's more of a model of consistency. And you can take a chance and be like, all right, let's go get me the guy who I think can get me to the Final Four every year.
Yeah. And
then when it doesn't work out and you're missing tournaments or you're losing, like, it's just, I get it. Like I've said many times, you're judged on what you do in the NCAA tournament. Completely understand on that. But just saying, I don't think it's always realistic to say we've all got to win the national championship every year. So, I mean, here's a great point from Big Gator EJ. Would you take Mark Few's body of work even without a national championship? If you're Texas, would you hire Mark Few in a heartbeat? Of course you would.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? So it's an interesting argument, like we said. It's not a fair one either, because it's just you're always going to be judged on who wins it all. But guess what? Of the 360 whatever teams, one team wins it all every year.
It's weird, and this is where I think at some point we all speak out of both sides of our mouth, and I'll come at it as a Braves fan. Like, how many years were the Braves just right at the top of the heap, and then they got to postseason and something would happen? And yet, what are the years that you remember? Like 2021, holy smokes, that was great. We weren't even relevant the whole year. We snuck into playoffs. We got hot at the end. GM made some huge roster moves. We don't even remember our best player because Acuna had torn his knee that year. And then we get it done at the end. And the memories of that are tremendous. They'll stay with me for forever. So there is, and that's the hard part. Flags are forever, and the memories of those are forever. And it just skews the universe of how we look at people. Sam says I was on the team. I shouldn't say we. I was not on the team. My favorite team, the Braves. How's that, Sam?
Mm-hmm. Here's a good point. Doc Holliday here. 2 Elite Eights and a Final Four at Texas made the tournament every year except one. The Barnes narrative doesn't work. It doesn't work, and it's gotten old at this point. But I get it. Like, I understand it. I understand why people talk about it. But, again, I still think and this is a good question, okay? Would you rather have the guy who just wins consistently always puts you in a position to be in position in the NCAA tournament? Or would you rather have, let's say, the high of more Elite Eights and one Final Four and a couple years in between where you don't make the tournament? Would you rather have the roller coaster, or would you rather just, kind of just whatever other carnival ride there is where you just kind of stay on the same path? What is that? Would that be like, I don't know, you guys can compare it to something, but
you know what the program is that like is the ultimate litmus test of that? Max, you won't get it, but Blake, you might. And I'll give you a hint, it's not a basketball program.
I have no clue.
I have no clue either.
Auburn football. Like SEC Shorts made a whole skit about Auburn football as a roller coaster ride. And I think right now minds kind of go to what happened last. And like if you listen to Auburn fans talk about their football program, it's like, we're cursed and battered Auburn fan syndrome. Well, you got some big hardware in the middle of that too.
I think I'd rather take the consistent Sweet 16 rather than the roller coaster sporadic run. Maybe miss the tournament one year, go Elite Eight, miss the tournament. I'd rather take the Sweet 16 every year.
I think I'm with you, but you know what? Mother Carol, I'm content with a Final Four every decade. And so, like, I don't know if a lot of people would agree with that. Well, I get it, but here's the thing too. I think when we're talking about like Sean Miller specifically, there's nothing that says like he can't get him to the Final Four just because he's never done it before. Porter Moser never made a Final Four. Jim Larinaga never made a Final Four. Like all this other stuff, but the guys who consistently put their teams in position to be in the tournament have the better chance of breaking through and getting to a Final Four, right? Yes, you're going to have the random stuff where Loyola makes it one year and, George Mason, what they did, like all those kind of things. But that's where, like, it's the NCAA tournament. But the NCAA tournament this year looks a lot different than it usually does. And guess what? I think this is going to be more of the norm moving forward. I don't know that you're going to have many of these, those kind of teams pop out from nowhere because it's NIL, transfer portal, all this kind of stuff. And we've said, like, hey, we're an SEC channel, but we also kind of see the obvious in terms of where this is headed. And sure, like, use all your resources. The SEC is invested, making sure their basketball programs are at the top, and it's paying off now. So it's a fun discussion. We could go an hour on this, but I think this was an interesting one to think about because everyone would have different answers, I think, on what they would go with. So
the other side of that, I'd love to make a list of how many coaches, say, in the last 25 years have been hired off. Like Andy Enfield has made a whole career out of, what he did at Florida Gulf Coast over one weekend and gotten jobs off it. I mean, Sheen Holloway did it. And I'm not saying these guys are bad coaches, by the way. I'm just saying Porter Moser did it. I'm sure we could, Ryan Odom.
Yeah. I mean, that's again, how you judge. You're judged on the tournament. And I still think, though, the overall body of work to me is
another one.
Is pretty impressive. To be able to do that over 35-game season and all that. So, but this is why we love it. So, all right. $20 super chat here from John on the way out.
Hey.
The nightmare for the tournament has come through. Kentucky, the worst thing that could have happened to Tennessee. Oh, John. Oh, it's going to be a few sleepless nights for the Cats and Vols fans leading up to Friday. But we'll have you covered. We're going to go shortly and start working on our preview videos for the week. The first slate, Thursday's games, we'll have those out first. And then Friday's games, decent chance those will go up early tomorrow morning. So we may, put those up early tomorrow for Friday's game. So I know Kentucky, Tennessee fans, you want the video, you want it. We're going to give it to you. But just letting you know, that's how it works. So, all right, we're out of here. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, got plenty of stuff coming. We'll have some baseball content later in the week. For Blake Lovell, for Back from the Dead Max Barr. Oh, wait, we got one more thing.
Check out our friends at Bracket Bids. Hope you're enjoying the free pick'em contest, the auction draft league, all that fun stuff. Remember, you got to download that app, Bracket Bids. Also, visit them at bracketbids.com. We appreciate all their support here over the past couple months. So,
all right. Thanks for watching. Back with more soon here at Southeastern 16.